You're welcome. I believe Senator Padilla is waiting to join us virtually. Senator, are you there?
Yes, thank
Please
you,
proceed.
Mr. Chairman. And I too, similar to Senator Whitehouse, was in person earlier, but joining virtually from my office here in Hart. Um, and I won't be as repetitive. I know several of my colleagues have already raised the issue, addressed the concern that Senator Blackburn raised earlier about the blue slip process. Won't rehash that, but I do want to uh, speak to something else that Senator Blackburn said. She mentioned the blue slip process and then proceeded to talk about it allegedly as a breach of constitutional norms, which to me is a greater issue, a greater concern. If our Republican colleagues want to have a conversation about breaching of constitutional norms when there was very little challenge to so many breaches under the prior administration, I would welcome that opportunity if it led to improved practices and procedures for the functioning of the Senate. But I do believe that is a conversation for another day. Let's keep the focus today on Judge Mathis, who, by everything I can gather, is very much qualified and experienced and has earned the consideration in this hearing today. Mr. Mathis, you spent 15 years practicing law in state and federal courts, in civil, criminal, and administrative proceedings. You've tried 19 cases to final decision. That number might have increased from a response to a recent question. Argued 10 appeals. Please update that number if that's inaccurate. Not counting the hundreds of cases that you've worked on, but don't get to the point of trial or appeal. You were also appointed by the Tennessee Superior Court to serve on the Disciplinary Hearing Committee for the State Board of Professional Responsibility. Considering this wide range and depth of experience that you've had, can you tell us which might have best prepared you to become a federal judge?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I think the experience that best prepared me to be a federal judge is the appellate work I've done as well as the work I've done in the trial courts. Obviously, when you're when you're at the Sixth Circuit, you're reviewing matters from the trial court. So I have a great basis of knowledge, having litigated more than 100 cases in federal court through resolution at various points. At the motion to dismiss phase, summary judgment phase, after trial. So having those experiences, I think, prepares me very well. But also for the cases that I've handled, for most of the issues, I've litigated both sides. When we talk about employment cases, I've represented individuals, but I've also represented companies. And the same for the other type of cases that I handle. So most of the issues I've litigated on both sides, and I practice in a broad range of areas.
Right. Somewhat of a follow-up. You have briefed and argued numerous appeals, but significant experience in the trial courts, which you have, can also be a crucial asset to an appellate lawyer or a judge. How will your work in the trial courts inform your service as an appellate judge?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. Of course, the Court of Appeals in most cases is hearing alleged errors from the trial court. So one thing I have a lot of experience with is whether those errors have been properly preserved, objections and things of that nature. And that really determines the standard of review that the Sixth Circuit can consider when the case makes it that far. So I believe having that experience in trial court will inform my decision-making process if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed to the Sixth Circuit.
Thank you for responses. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. There are no other senators seeking recognition. And I would like to close with one last request. The Bar Association may have found you unanimously well qualified. This chair of this committee finds your children unanimously well behaved. And we wish that all of us as members of the Senate could be as well behaved. Please introduce them again before you leave.
Absolutely. I'm happy to introduce them. My son, Andre Mathis Jr., and my daughter, McKenna Mathis, and of course, their great mother, Dr. Victoria Mathis.